Chermak, if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Certainly. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not really a flattering shot to my midsection, but such are the perils of the job. So I trust everybody had the opportunity to read the minutes that were forwarded by Tracy.
Yes.
And assuming that they have, I'll entertain a motion to approve them from last month's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
And we have a second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the meetings are approved. Actually, I skipped. Was there anybody, Tracy, from the public who seeking any comments on agenda items?
No, we didn't receive any emails today.
Okay. Okay, so next we'll do is the motion to approve any current payables or all current payables for Community Corrections Center and the prison. Likewise, they were sent out in advance of the meeting today by Tracy. So if anybody is inclined, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll make a motion.
A motion for Commissioner Chermak. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. So the current payables for Community Corrections Center and prison are approved. So next is item 2045, the report of the controller. Controller DiBileo.
Yes, Judge. The prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations for October 2020. The Controller's Office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations, which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of October 2020, and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statements. The balance in the inmate account was $455,696.84 as of October 31st of 2020. The balance in the canteen checking account was $514,225.43 as of October 31st of 2020. And in addition, as of October 31st, the canteen account owned 2 certificates of deposit, one valued at $15,000 and the other at $132,239.22, which total $147,239.22. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Controller DiBileo?
Nope.
Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve his monthly report.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Chermak. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Notarianni. On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Controller DiBileo. Next, Mr. Jeffers chiming in, and perfect timing as always. We'll hear from you on your community corrections report.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you? Or good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
I am well, thank you.
The Community Corrections Programs Report for October 2020. Item 1, adult house arrest had 121 participants, and juvenile house arrest had 9 participants. Item 2, the program's revenues for the month of October totaled $44,080.90. Item 3, the program's expenses totaled $63,940.81. Item 4, the program's completions, house arrest had 32. Item 5, the program's violations, house arrest had 5. Item 6, the program's warrants are outstanding, 6 for work release, 1 for house arrest. And item 7, the budget report for the year. So far, overtime is at 53%, expenses are at 71%, and revenue is at 49%. That concludes the report for the month of October, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Jeffers? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve his report.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Chermak. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Mr. DiBileo on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. The Community Corrections Center report is approved. I have to tell you, Mr. Jeffers, I was telling Commissioner Notarianni before we went on the air, I commended him and all of you for how smooth the election process went. I was on the last shift election night, and everything was moving very, very smoothly. And, you know, Commissioner Notarianni said, Marion Medalis always does a great job, and
She does.
credited all of you. And so because you people gave her and her crew the resources that they needed to get the job done the right way. So I believe we were the first county to report all of our mail-in votes.
I believe that we were, sir. 9:35.
So, okay. Thank you very much. So now we'll move to the warden's.
Thank you. Have a safe holiday, everyone.
Thank you.
And you.
Warden Betty?
Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to quickly explain, I'm wearing a mask because I have with me in my conference room our newest Deputy Warden of Operations. His name's Gordon Travany. I'll give you a quick screenshot so you can see Gordon. Say hello to everyone. Good morning, Gordon.
Morning.
Hello.
Morning, Gordon. Morning.
Okay, and
Welcome
we're
aboard.
practicing all those CDC recommendations and guidelines and making sure that we're all masked up. So my report is the average daily population for October was 635 inmates, 462 were county inmates. As of November 10th, we had 670, 595 were adult males, 70 were adult females, and 5 were juvenile males. The population of U.S. Marshal Service detainees as of the 10th was 180 individuals. The prison has been experiencing a significant increase in commitments, and as a result, our population is, my report said very near pre-pandemic numbers. It's at pre-pandemic numbers now. We're right around 690 individuals here today. Currently, our county correctional officers numbers break down to 170 officers on shift, 2 out on workers' comp, 1 on continuous FMLA, 61 with intermittent FMLA, no one on administrative leave, and 3 vacancies, 176 total officers. Our budget as of October 31st, our revenue was at 60%, our expenses were at 83%. Inmates at or past their minimum dates, the total number is 17. 9 of them have no home plan, 5 have home plans that are submitted and they're awaiting approval, and 3 have been remanded for the balance of their sentences. Extraordinary occurrence reports, there were 8 during the month of October. On October 4th, a newly committed county inmate attempted to harm himself. When the inmate was questioned about this attempt at self-harm, he began to express both suicidal and homicidal ideations. As a result of this, a decision was made to place him into the emergency restraint chair for his safety and the safety of others. Also on October 4th, and 4 hours after being removed from the emergency restraint chair, the same inmate attempted to harm himself. A decision was made to place the inmate back into the emergency restraint chair for safety. As is always the case with employment of the emergency restraint chair, this individual was referred to the prison psychiatrist for treatment. On October 9th, a newly committed county inmate began acting aggressively towards his cellmate. Officers attempted to move him out of the cell for the safety of the inmate, and a struggle ensued. The newly committed inmate then attempted to assault officers, and he was placed in the emergency restraint chair for the safety of everyone involved. On October 11th, the county inmate popped the sprinkler head off in his cell, and he started to continuously climb up and down his toilet sink area. The inmate was not compliant with staff efforts to get him to voluntarily relocate to another cell. An extraction team entered his cell and deployed the pepper ball launcher, which resulted in the inmate's temporary compliance with moving to another cell. However, upon exiting the cell, this inmate began to physically resist staff, and he was subsequently placed in the ERC for safety and the safety of others. On October 16th, a county inmate was undergoing the booking process, and he became unruly and non-compliant with orders from the officers conducting the booking. Officers attempted to apply handcuffs, and the inmate began to struggle with the officers. OC spray was deployed, and the inmate was placed into the ERC for the safety of all involved. On 10/22, a newly committed county inmate was assessed as being in need of a suicide precaution watch. This inmate then became uncooperative with efforts to change him over into a suicide prevention smock, and he began being placed into a cell that is equipped with a camera. Staff had to place him into the ERC so that he could be changed into the suicide prevention smock and for safety. On 10/24, a newly committed county inmate appeared to be intoxicated and had been uncooperative with deputy sheriffs who brought her to our facility. This inmate had just been arrested on an assault charge, and her uncooperative behavior continued during the booking process. The inmate then began to physically resist efforts to place her into handcuffs. Staff were able to obtain control of the inmate and place her into the ERC for the safety of everyone concerned. And finally, on October 31st, the county inmate on a suicide prevention watch covered his camera, and he began expressing suicidal ideations. He requested to be placed into the emergency restraint chair, and due to being actively suicidal, staff made a determination that such placement was warranted. As staff were preparing to place him into the ERC, he fell backwards and hit his head on the toilet. The on-duty nurse contacted the prison psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist ordered him to be placed into 4-point humane restraints. PREA, there were no PREA investigations completed in the month of October. And coronavirus update, we recently had an officer who tested positive and a contracted provider who tested positive, as well as a total of 11 inmates who had tested positive. The officer and that contracted vendor have recently tested negative and have returned to work. And our inmate population that has been identified is in an isolated cohort, and they'll remain in that until we're able to determine that they're symptom-free as a group without the assistance of medication for 3 consecutive days. And this concludes my report.
Tim, in view of the pre-COVID level of inmates, I know during COVID, with the reduced population, you were able to have some cell blocks set aside in the event of infections, positive infections. Where do you stand with that kind of flexibility now?
We're not in great standing right now. We have everything opened back up, both because our numbers crept back up and because we got hit with some COVID cases. And it's actually, there's 2 different groups. So we have them in 2 different blocks. That 11 inmates that I had mentioned, there's really 2 different groups. We ended up opening everything up in this facility at this point in time. We do have those housing units to use for people who get sick. We are trying to avoid putting anybody new into that group because the clock is counting. And if we introduce someone new to that block who's sick, we have to start the 14-day clock all over again. So we're doing the best we can, but we're getting to the point where if we get another batch of individuals who are sick, we're not really going to have a choice but to put them in with the already sick individuals or leave them where they are and consider that block under quarantine and isolation.
How long before those dedicated blocks open up?
Well, those blocks already opened up because of our sick people.
Okay.
But the first group of individuals who had tested positive, they're at the tail end of things right now. We're like on day 2 or 3 right now. We're ready to, essentially declare them over this. Nobody
Okay.
is symptomatic. Nobody's testing positive at this point.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for the warden?
I just had a question. Warden, do you feel as though you have appropriate testing materials that you need?
Not so much the testing materials. The PPE is the most important thing, the masks, the gloves, the face shields, and we're doing fine there with the testing. We're just testing based on the recommendation of our medical health care provider. When correctional care tells us, yeah, let's test this individual, we're doing that. So we've been able to hold up pretty well, and we're able to get our hands on test kits when we need them.
Okay, good.
Okay. Anybody else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the warden's report.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Thank you, Warden, and welcome Deputy Warden Treveni. Tracy, anything come in from the public?
No emails since.
Okay. Any other business from any of the members of the board? Okay. I have one piece of other business, and that is simply to wish you all a blessed and safe and healthy Thanksgiving. And for you and your families, no matter where they may be. Most of my family is going to be spread across the country. I've told them that they are not allowed to come home. So I will miss them, but I'll see them probably the same way I'm looking at all of you right now. So, but I hope that you all have a safe and healthy Thanksgiving.
You too, Your Honor.
The rest of the
And
board.
so, how about a motion to adjourn?
You too, Judge.
Motion.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you once again, Tracy, for all the work that you do, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.